Yo, what up? What's poppin'? Back at it again with another hip hop video for y'all. And this video is a little bit different because y'all notice that when I do my album reviews, when I give my take on new music, when I give my take on an album, it's usually on a new album, but I'm gonna switch it up a bit. I'm gonna start doing my album reviews. I'm gonna start doing my takes on old albums that came out back in the day, back in the 90s, back in the early 2000s. Yeah, I wanted to give my take on this artist. This artist is a legend. This artist is a white rapper, and he's underrated too. He actually, was like he came out like kind of similar. Well, he came out like after Eminem because like y'all know that like when he came out with his album The Slim Shady LP, that was back in 1999. But this artist was also on Interscope Records too. He came out when he came out with his debut album back in 2001. I wanted to give my take on Bubba Sparxx's debut album, Dark Days and Bright Nights. Let's have a discussion about this. Chat with me, engage with me, my fellow lyricists, my fellow hip hop fans, my fellow Bubba Sparxxx fans. Y'all are familiar with this album, Dark Days and Bright Nights by Bubba Sparxxx. I wanted to give my take on his debut album. This album is an old album. It came out back in 2001. I mean, with me being a fan of lyricism, I listen to a lot of old stuff, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of people be saying they want to hear the new stuff. I listen to the new stuff too, the new lyrical stuff, the new dope rappers, but it's okay to listen to a lot of old stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to give my take on Bubba Sparxx's album Dark Days and Bright Nights. Bubba Sparxx's debut album that came out in 2001, Dark Days and Bright Nights, this album was amazing. This album was a classic. This album was on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 10 out of 10. I was actually listening to this album today. I mean, the big hit on this album, Ugly, that song, like, pretty much like blew Bubba Sparxxx up. But it seems like, unfortunately, on this album, Dark Days and Bright Night, yeah, like Dark Days and Bright Nights, it seems like the song Ugly was like pretty much the only like hit from the album. But I mean, Bubba Sparxxx wasn't a one hit wonder though. Bubba Sparxxx had other hits after this album, but this album, Dark Days and Bright Nights, I mean, Timbaland had killed it with the production on this album. Yeah, Timbaland, he killed it with the production on this album. Like, yeah, I mean, this album, I mean, the Dirty South, like, some people be saying that, like, the South destroyed hip hop, but if you listen to this album, Dark Days and Bright Nights, like, Bubba Sparxxx is a lyricist. Bubba Sparxxx can spit. Bubba Sparxxx is lyrical. I mean, Bubba Sparxxx, he a white rapper from the Dirty South. Bubba Sparxxx is a rapper from LaGrange, Georgia, but he can spit. The lyricism on his debut album, Dark Days and Bright Nights, his lyricism is definitely on point. His lyricism is definitely, like, on the top. Now, am I saying that Bubba Sparxxx is, like... Now, I mean, Bubba Sparxxx is dope, but compared to Eminem, I mean, Eminem, I wouldn't say that Eminem is. I mean, I wouldn't say that like Bubba Sparxxx is just as lyrical as Eminem, but Bubba Sparxxx is lyrical. You know what I mean? Eminem is from Detroit, Michigan, and Bubba Sparxxx is from LaGrange, Georgia. Like Eminem is from up north, while Bubba Sparxxx is from the dirty south. But Bubba Sparxxx can spit. This album, Dark Days and Bright Nights, I honestly feel that this is the best album that Bubba Sparxxx has ever made out of his whole career. The production on this album is amazing. The lyricism on this album is amazing. The songs on this album are amazing. Like, I mean, you can tell with the songs that these songs, like, they got like that southern style because just like the song Twerk a little, like, yeah, you can tell it got that southern style, but the rapping is amazing though. The lyricism is amazing. I mean, y'all think that just because like a dope rapper is from the South means that they're not all that lyrical. No. Big Crit is not the only lyricist from the Dirty South that's lyrical. If you listen to Bubba Sparxxx' debut album, Dark Days and Bright Nights, Bubba Sparxxx, he a white rapper, but Bubba Sparxxx is lyrical. He's one of the illest. He's one of the illest white rappers. He's one of the illest white lyricists ever. But yeah, if you never like heard of Bubba Sparxxx, or if you haven't like heard this album Dark Days and Bright Nights and you a Bubba Sparxxx fan, you should definitely check this album out. This was his debut album that came out back in 2001. This album is a classic. It's phenomenal. It's a masterpiece. I love it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 10 out of 10. You know, got that Dirty South style, but you know, like the lyricism on this album and the production on this album, like Timbaland really killed it with the production on this album. The production is phenomenal. But yeah, my fellow Bubba Sparxxx fans, my fellow hip hop fans, let's have a discussion about this. Chat with me, engage with me. Are you a Bubba Sparxxx fan? Have you heard his debut album, Dark Days and Bright Nights? Let's have a discussion about it. Chat with me. Engage with me. Again, this is something different. This is an old album. This is an album that came out back in 2001. Yeah, this is not a new album. This is an old album. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on my channel, comment, share, like the video. And again, my new track, Clout Chasing, it's on my YouTube channel and it's also on my SoundCloud. You can follow me on SoundCloud at WallyG. Let's run it up. Let's blow it up. Love y'all.